Yo, 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 everybody. Welcome to Sunday service. Thank you so much for joining us. We are streaming on a couple of different locations. We are streaming on, I think for the first time today, we are streaming on Cody Barton's YouTube. So if you guys are not subscribed to Cody Barton's YouTube, that's going to be more, systems oriented. Cody, what are you thinking on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be talking about obviously real estate, because it's what we do, but I'm going to be talking about business in general, and then systems, and just how to have your business run more efficiently, how to have your company implement profit first. I'm gonna deep dive and go down that path a lot on the finances within your company, and because that's something that is so important, and I saw just such a huge change for us this year implementing it. So things like that. But yeah, and then systems too, going over and sharing all the different systems that we use and how we use them and why we like them. So
I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. I think that there's a lot of people I've been doing one-on-ones with, and they are closet integrators.
People don't like to admit it. They're like, yo, I'm not an integrator, but I want to be a visionary. It's
What's funny, I go, do you like to talk to sellers? No, but I'm a visionary. Okay.
You're not a visionary.
Do you wake up in the morning and the first thing you think of is talking to a stranger?
First thing I wake up in the morning, I'm like, this part of the business could be a little bit more efficient. This part of the business could be a little bit more efficient. Oh man, I gotta, if I have to talk to a seller, I'm like, not
dude, so good. Closet integrators. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, the book Rocket Fuel will explain to you what a integrator and a visionary are. And it's one of the many reasons why Cody and my businesses have succeeded, is because we have a really good dynamic between the two of us. Cody is the integrator. I am the visionary. And it doesn't mean that neither one of us have integrator or visionary tendencies. It just means that we focus on what we're the best at. We wake up in the morning, we go, okay, these are the things I naturally want to do. Let me go and hone in on those and focus on those, so I can become like superhuman at those items. So today on one of my Zooms, the person probably is going to be listening today was like, "Oh no, I'm more like Cody," and I'm like, "Okay, great. So tell me more about that." And they're like, "Oh yeah, I just love talking to sellers. I love closing deals. I just want to be on the phone with sellers all the time." I'm like, "Okay, you're definitely not Cody. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to manage employees." I'm like, okay, well then you're a visionary. That's your side of the business. So anyway, guys, welcome to Sunday service. We are probably going to go for about an hour and 30 minutes tonight. We'll go to about 8:30 Arizona time. Thank you so much for tuning in. It does mean a lot to us. Cody's in the middle of a move. I'm in the middle of packing for New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Jamil Damji and myself are going to be traveling this coming week, visiting people up in the northeastern area, talking about creative finance and AstroFlip. So we should be having a good time. Oh, check it out. The Ramirez Real Estate. Last Sunday service program, I won a one-on-one and nobody contacted me from you. What happened? I can tell you 100% of the calendar links. Let's see. What was your email? Give me your email and I'll show you that I sent you a Zoom link. I sent every single person a Zoom link. Calendly. I'll even do a screen share. I'll even show you I sent you the Zoom link. There was only one person that didn't show up for our one-on-ones this week, and guess who it was? I'm looking at it, and it was you. So you received an email from my team with a Zoom link, and you did not show up. And in 15 minutes into the 30-minute session, I turned it off. So sorry about that. But yes, we sent you an email with a Zoom link. But the other 13 Zooms I did this week were absolutely amazing. Had a great time doing it. So tonight, guys, I don't know anybody up for this, but tonight Cody and I will be giving away 14 one-on-ones with me this coming week for 30 minutes. Cody, what kind of things do you think I'm helping people out in their business? Just know, you've been in the business so long. What kind of things do you think I'm helping people out with?
I think when you're getting on and talking with some of these people, it's probably a lot of the same conversations over and over again. People overcomplicating, like, I don't know what to, focus my time on, or, I'm having trouble. It's either probably I'm having trouble generating leads. I don't have enough people to talk to, or I'm not closing enough deals. That's usually the two biggest things. It's either I don't have money for leads, or I can't generate leads, or I'm having trouble closing deals. Those are really the two most basic things people have. And they're not basic, they are advanced to get good at those things, but just being able to do those consistently.
Interesting insight, because that's exactly what I thought that I would be talking about. It's exactly what it's not been that way.
Really?
Yeah, I'm blown away myself. Like, honestly, I originally was like, okay, I'm going to record all of these so that I can share these with the Creative Finance Facebook group and give people, some inside look at some one-on-ones and what kind of things I talk about. Bro, I can't share these conversations. They're like getting deeply involved, like, in people's lives, and people are asking me a lot of personal stuff, and I don't mind sharing things about me, right? But like, people are sharing things about their marriage, their partnerships that they're in that they're not happy with, a lot of personal stuff. And that's the thing, is like the testament of being able to get down and dirty within 30 minutes, talking like here's what happens. I'm not like, yo, how are you doing? It's like, tell me about your business. Where are you stuck? Let's get into it right away, because we only have 30 minutes. But, some of the calls have gone 40, 45 minutes just because there was so much to unpackage and so much to talk about with their personal stuff before we even got to, hey, I've got a creative finance deal I need you to look at, or, hey, I'm stuck, whatever. It's interesting. I'm not even getting into people's KPIs. I'm not getting into anybody's, individual actual business. It's a lot of personal stuff, like, surprising. And I think what it is people on a one-on-one are a lot more comfortable to just say, yo, I'm going to be way honest with you because I know I only have 30 minutes with you. Let's get like down and dirty. And that's what these conversations have been like. So really interesting stuff. So I actually had to turn the recording off on all my Zooms just because it was getting so personal.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. I feel like most of the time what's holding people back really isn't the generating of leads, isn't the closing of deals. It's like a lot of like either personal things that are holding them back, or, these subconscious limiting beliefs that are holding people back. I think is actually what holds people back. But on surface level, I thought people would be asking, how do I do those things better?
Yeah, it's interesting. So one of the calls I had today, which obviously I'll never share people's names or, intricate details and stuff like that. Obviously, people trust me for that. But one of the conversations I had today was about somebody had abandonment issues from their father and all sorts of things. And so it like comes into their relationships with their business partners and other people they do business with. And they said, I got to change. And ultimately I said, no, what we got to do is find your superpower and don't spend your time trying to fix things. Spend your time trying to work on things that you're already good at. And then you won't have time for really anything else. Right. And so going back to what our original conversation was at the beginning of this podcast is that you and I don't dabble in your world, and you will sometimes dabble in my world a little bit because it's needed, but we let each other focus on our superpowers, so we don't have time to meddle and do things that we're not amazingly good at, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. A lot of times it's, we're both just running and doing things and doing what we know that we're supposed to be doing, and then have to catch up and be like, what are you working on? Okay, this is what I'm working on. And yeah, no, it's which is great, because it's moving we're rowing in the same direction. It's just I don't know what storms you're battling on this side, and I'm doing my thing over here, but we're going the same direction.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good analogy. We're not rowing in circles. We're rowing the same direction. It's just that we're on two different sides of the boat, right?
Yeah.
That's really good. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. We've got about 225 live viewers right now behind YouTube and Facebook. And I can't thank you guys enough. We love doing this. Cody and I started doing Sunday service about a year and a half ago, I'd say. Started out with a free, what was it? Free call-in webinar.
HT.com.
Yeah, super ghetto. Yeah, I do use like long distance calling cards to get into the thing. And then we elevated to Instagram Live, which was fun, but it limited our viewership. And there was a lot of people like, yo, I've got questions. Yo, I need help, all that kind of stuff. So we elevated to what we're doing now. And so the fact that we still get hundreds of people showing up live on Sunday night. And some people, guys, what time is it where you're at? What time is it where you're at? Are you guys in Atlanta? Is it freaking 10 o'clock, 10:15 where you are right now? Tell me about it. And anyway, what we're going to jump into today is we're going to talk about a couple of things. Cody, I'm going to let you talk about Section 8 here in a little bit. Because I don't know what you know, right? You're out researching Section 8. You're out researching other things. And we were talking about it at the beginning of the podcast. But what everybody came here, 9:15 in DFW, big Texas, a lot of people in Texas. Rhonda Chun is 10:15, so she's definitely on the East Coast. Massachusetts, baby, 10 o'clock. Guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys showing up. We spent a good day with our families, and now the babies are asleep. We're just kind of getting ready for the upcoming week. Cody, I know you're moving this week, and so you're kind of uprooted a little bit, but what kind of things do you do to start out the week? Are you doing things on Sunday to plan for your upcoming week, or are you doing things early Monday morning? What does that look like for you?
Oh, Sunday for sure. I mean, I plan every Sunday. I mean, that's why I called you earlier today. I was like, hey man, like, what do I need to be doing with, the new editor, the graphic designer? I mean, to plan out my week, it's plan every Sunday. It's on Sunday is my day to relax. It's, usually me and Hyle will watch movies and, hang out and get stuff done around the house. Today's different because we're moving, so we packed a bunch. But, I do something called Smart Week. And so basically what I'll do is I'll spend like an hour just doing like a review over the last week. What were things that went well, what things, didn't go so well. What were the challenges, to look at, the targets for the different businesses, what direction we're trying to head. And then looking at, hey, what's the gap between where we're at and where we're trying to go? And then around understanding that, then I could start putting some of the action items in place for the following week. What are some of the meetings that I need to make sure that happen this week based on, reviewing this last week? What are some of the things I need to put a little bit more time and energy into? And then scheduling out, some of the personal things too. Like if I want to go to the gym on Sundays, I'll schedule that through the week so I know when I'm scheduling the personal time. Because if you don't schedule that, it'll get overtaken. So just scheduling in everything on Sundays for the week, and then I could just go into the week and just work the plan and not have to wonder, what the week's going to look like. And then every morning I'll, do a quick review and see what are the most important things that I want to focus on today. And that's the main priority. But then I'll just take care of the minutia and the other, reactive type stuff that comes up. But I have a set focus for every day.
Love that. So I'm pretty similar. I'll spend early Sunday morning planning out my upcoming week. But I also plan out every day for about an hour. So a lot of people that have been following us know that I'm an early riser, 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And that's when I plan my day. And literally I spend an hour every single day going through, filling in the blanks, reaching out to people that maybe I've been waiting to connect with, or answering questions. And filling in the blank. I want to know all day long what I have going on. And sometimes I'll even double book things that I'm not sure of. And then ultimately how the day unfolds, whichever one becomes a higher priority, one of those has to fall back or be pushed to a different appointment. But you'll never, Cody and I never have downtime like during the day. You always have things going on. But if you have a calendar that's not full, what happens is the universe fills it for you with a bunch of fires and weird stuff, right? So Another thing that's really helpful is that you got to let your team know I'm not available to solve fires all day. Like if you need something, you got to schedule a call with me 2 days in advance. I don't have time. That means you need to solve that problem on your own right now, which is cool.
100%. Maurice, I do not meal prep. I only really eat 2 meals a day. I mean, Pace is, I think you're just doing 1 meal a day, but I usually only eat lunch and then, dinner. I mean, that's really it. I don't like to eat in the morning because it makes me feel sluggish. If I start my day eating, makes me feel tired. So I usually eat for lunch and then dinner. And it's usually a light lunch and then a heavier dinner.
Jill says, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night, Pace? I average 5 to 6. Yeah, I'm about the same. I'll go to bed at probably 10, 11, wake up between 3 and 4, somewhere around there. But that's the way to do it. I can't 8 hours. I don't know what 8 hours feels like. I think it would be amazing, but I do not know what that feels like. Murad says, thanks, Maurice. What location and time? And what he's referencing is Jamil and I are going to be in New York, New Jersey this week. We're flying in Wednesday, coming back Sunday. So we'll be there 5 days. On Thursday afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, Jamil and I will be in New York City at an amphitheater doing a meetup on the outside, guys. And we have a permit for it as well. I did get blown up on Instagram today, somebody being hypercritical of us doing meetups and all that kind of stuff, which I understand. Everybody has their opinion. We have a permit for a meetup on Thursday night in New York. We're combining New York and New Jersey. And then on Saturday, we're going to be driving down to Philadelphia and spending an entire day in Philly. So I hope we have some people from Philly, and I hope we have some people who's in New York, New Jersey area that will be coming to hang out. I know Will is going to be there. I know Maurice Grant is going to be there. Who else is going to be coming in for the New York, New Jersey meetup on Thursday, late afternoon, early evening? I think it's going to be like a 6 p.m. so that if anybody has work, they can get off and hopefully going to get into the city. Michelle Sidney says, where in New York? Let me tell you where in New York. Jamil has the answer. Let's get it. So Cody, tell me about this. Before I was going to jump in today about the 7 reasons or 7 benefits of creative finance. And I'll get into that in just a minute, but I wanted to find out what you've been finding out about Section 8 and how's that journey been going for you?
Yeah. So, and just to preface it, every state's going to be different for those of you that might be looking into doing Section 8. But essentially, for those of you that may not know what Section 8 housing is, it's a program that's been created by the government, essentially. And so what they're doing is helping people that can't help themselves with housing. These people have to go through, a lot of different, applications and, a long waiting period, working with, a government representative to get approved for Section 8 housing. And so essentially what that is the government's going to take care of either all of it or almost all of the rent that tenant would be paying for somewhere that they're going to be living. And so the restrictions and rules are going to be a little bit different by the state, even by the county here. And so I'm looking into that specifically for the house that I'm currently living in. I'm moving out of tomorrow. But essentially what I found out from other investors in our local market is, for when you rent to Section 8, you can typically get a premium for rent. So the property that I'm in now, I would be able to rent out for about $1,600 a month in market rent. But with doing it Section 8, what I could potentially get is somewhere between in the mid 1700s, upwards of $1,800 a month for the rent on this property. And so you do have to go through an application process. Imagine, so this is what the process has been like so far. Imagine you have to deal with the DMV over the phone and like you're communicating with someone that works at the DMV. That's basically what it's like. It's you're calling, You leave a message, they don't call you back. You call them, you try to leave another message, they don't call you back. You email them, they don't respond. You call them, and then you finally talk to someone and they say you got to talk to another representative. So a lot of this is what you have to jump through some hoops, just like as if you're trying to freaking do something at the DMV. But essentially, one of the things that's interesting, Pace, is because of COVID, their inspection process got a lot faster, which is the whole reason that I decided to go down this route for this particular house. Is typically with Section 8 here in Mesa, is they're going to send out an inspector, and it could take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. They'll put you on a calendar, 2 to 4 weeks from now to send them out. They have to do the inspection. It takes them another week to respond to you. But now, because of COVID, they don't even want to go to any homes. They'll just email you the inspection sheet. You do the inspection with the tenant. Basically, just you check everything off that it's safe. The tenant checks everything off that everything's safe, and you send it back to the city, and you're approved. So you can get approved a lot faster, than typically because of the COVID world that we're in right now. But just jumping through the hoops of communicating. There's some other, a few other applications and different things you have to fill out, but it's pretty simple overall to get it done. And then the thing is, getting a check from the government. They're paying the rent for that tenant, so you don't have to worry about these evicting your tenant, right? Because the government is the one that's writing the check. You don't have to worry about, the tenant lost their job due to COVID, so now they aren't able to pay their rent. It's being paid. It's being sent to you, and because the government will just print more money if they need to pay you more. So,
Cody, Patrick Haney is going to be renting out the property on Culver from us. He's turning that into a sober living house. And I think he's asking you this question because he wants another sober living house. How many bedrooms is that?
It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. So you'd probably want a bigger one. What one would maybe be good for that is Des Moines, because it's a 5-bed, but it has a pool. I don't know if that's a safety hazard for sober living. I don't know anything about sober living.
So what's the story with are you trying to do Section 8 on our house on Des Moines?
I was going to do that, yeah. But Pat, just the idea of what you had with Patrick and Culver, that could be an idea for Des Moines too. I don't know enough about it, but I was going to try to do Section 8 for Des Moines because it's a 5-bedroom.
What do you think we could get for a Section 8 house there?
I imagine 2,000 or more a month. I haven't done, because I'm still trying to get through the process on this house. Once I actually have a good rep to communicate with for it, then I'll be able to get a better idea. Because the thing is, they have a shortage of inventory of homes, so they definitely want to get more landlords. Pool is a plus. Okay, maybe Des Moines could be a good one. I don't know. Maybe conversation. Let's have that conversation.
Leanna, reach out to Patrick. Patrick is going to be leasing one of our properties or multiple properties from us here in Phoenix. So he hangs around Steve Trang's office. I think he's an agent at Steve Trang's office. So trusted guy. I would definitely touch base with him. So I had shifting topics. This is an interesting topic. There's an influencer here in Phoenix that is not happy about the success of both you and I getting more and more influenced by helping so many people. Okay, so all the people we help, we're constantly trying to help. There's an influencer here that's been around for over 10 years. No, I'm sorry, probably over 15 years, that has been speaking negatively about you and I. And then when I reached out to them yesterday, they denied it greatly. And they said, "Oh, no, I love everything you're doing, blah, 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 blah." And I go, okay, well, this is what was said. Essentially what they were saying is they're a wholesaler educator, right? So they teach wholesale. So as creative finance becomes more and more of a thing, as it gets educated and people are articulating it at a higher level, creative finance will essentially become a way easier way to make money than wholesale was, right? Because wholesale is so competitive, creative finance gives you a competitive advantage. So the crap talk has been specifically around you're not taking care of sellers when you're doing creative finance. The seller, these are like almost words, the exact words. The words were, I hate what those guys are doing. That creative finance stuff is crap. It doesn't help any seller. The seller should just take their money and get out. These guys aren't taking care of their sellers, blah, 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 blah. Creative finance is a fad, blah, 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 all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, it's super interesting. First and foremost, creative finance has been around for 100+ years. In fact, you'll find creative finance in every sector, not just real estate, right? You'll find it in just about everything. Every business structure, every high-level business person is utilizing creative finance to get deals done, right? Accelerated notes, accelerated payment terms, escalation clauses, all sorts of cool things that you can do in any business vertical. So creative finance has been around for a long time, but in real estate, creative finance has been around for hundreds of years as well. It's been even educated for 50+ years, even before the advent of the internet. People have been writing books about it for a long, long time. I think the challenge is people get salty because as you do more and more creative finance deals and you elevate your ability to convert contracts and you elevate your ability to make more money, people get a little bit jealous because they have not figured out how to get outside of that wholesale hamster wheel. So when I reached out to him, not going to name any names, you and I can have a private conversation, denied it. But the person that told me was in a room with him, heard the whole conversation, not a liar, has no reason to lie. And so I just moved on, no big deal. But I wanted to talk about it tonight, not because I wanted to highlight that people badmouth each other. That's going to happen, right? That kind of stuff happens. People get jealous, people, whatever. And you just kind of learn to live with that. But I wanted to jump into the advantages of creative finance. And I wanted to jump into how it actually can help a seller. So I wanted to jump into 7 things that creative finance does that wholesale cannot. So one thing that was really interesting, okay, in these one-on-one calls that I'm having with people, I've got a couple of wholesalers that are virtually wholesaling, making a couple $100,000 a year. Pretty cool. It's decent money. And I go, man, what are you doing with all those taxes? I said, how are you going to avoid paying taxes? And their answer was, wait, what? I can do that? So, Cody, what is a good strategy utilizing creative finance? What's a good strategy to avoid paying taxes?
Just purchasing more rentals in general. So whether you're buying them sub 2 or you're buying them on a seller carry, and holding it for the long term.
Right. So here's the thing. If you are just doing wholesale and if you are just doing traditional transactions, your listings or whatever, and you are not leveraging depreciation, you're going to be one of those wholesalers that makes $200,000 a year and pays $80,000 in taxes. Or you're going to be the guy that makes $200,000 a year, and depending on your write-offs and whatever else, your 200 grand, by the way, your 200 grand you make should be after your write-offs. Okay. That's your take home. If you have your $200,000 take home, you're going to be in a tax bracket that's basically $60,000 a year. So you really didn't make 200,000. You made 140. I could make 140,000 selling cars. Why would I get into wholesale if that was the goal? That's not the goal. The goal is to make way more and keep way more. And the only way that I know is by utilizing creative finance to, one, acquire more properties without more credit, without more down payments, without more all of that stuff, and acquire buy and hold rentals that you can ultimately utilize depreciation and avoid paying taxes. Now, think about this. Let's say that you have a business that makes $35,000 a year in or $35,000 a month in wholesale, take home, $35,000 a month in fix and flip. I think you and I are probably around that mark on the 35,000 for the fix and flip each, right?
Yeah.
Where are we at right now? We're like generating $80,000 to $100,000 a month in fix and flip income.
Yep.
So you and I both should be at $35,000 a month, roughly, after expenses, commissions, all that kind of stuff, right? So Then you should be at another $30,000 a month in creative finance and, cash flow and all that kind of stuff. So essentially, at $90,000 a month, you're making a little over $1 million a year. Now, at that tax bracket, I don't think a lot of people really understand this. Hey, Jory Alston, our homeboy. Jory, man, it's way past your bedtime, brother. Love you, man. Love you, dude. Jory Alston does a lot of seller finance, guys. Good friend of the show. Good friend of us just in general. So let's say you make a little over $1 million a year. That tax bracket, Cody, Google that for me. Say $1 million income tax bracket.
Yeah, or Arizona.
Federal tax bracket. Federal tax, not state income. Let's just talk about what you would pay in federal income tax on $1 million a year, which is the goal, right? Guys, can I be real with you? $100,000 a year is not cool. I hate to sound this way, but $200,000 a year is not that cool either. I can tell you how fast $20,000 a month goes, $40,000 a month, $50,000 a month. Now, we're pretty conservative in what we spend, but man, you go on a vacation nowadays, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. You kidding me? How can people think $100,000 a year is a lot of money? It really is not.
37%.
Okay, so if I make $1 million in a year, regardless of where I live, Texas or California, I'm paying $370,000. Lee Winters says 39%. $390,000 in income. How can you grow a portfolio when you go out and you make that kind of money and essentially all the cash flow from all your rentals or all the money you made from your fix and flips? That means you've got to, how many fix and flips do we do a month to make that kind of money? Probably 4 or 5?
Yeah. 4 to 5.
So essentially, I got to do 3 to 5 whole fix and flips a month so that I can pay my federal income tax.
So then you could take home your wholesale and your cash flow income.
Are you freaking joking me? I'm going to go do 3 to 5 fix and flips in a month so I can pay my taxes just to the federal. Are you joking me? Guys, it is amazing what people do not understand. So let's talk about depreciation. Okay. So Jory Alston and probably a handful of other people on here. We've got 250 people watching live between YouTube and Facebook. So guys, we love you. We appreciate the support. Thank you so much. So number one, most important thing, in my opinion, when you can build a portfolio very quickly with creative finance is the utilization of depreciation. Okay. So because here's the model. Okay. I know Jory and I are good buddies. So Jory's going to agree with this. Here's the model. The model is not wholesale. The model is not fix and flip. The model is not creative finance. You know what the model is? All of it. That's the model. The model is all of it. You wholesale what you can, you fix and flip what you can, and you utilize creative finance where you need to and where you can. That's it. And this is how you convert at a much higher rate. Somebody asked me today on one of the one-on-ones, they said, what are you and Cody doing in your business? And I said, honestly, we're not scaling. We're getting more efficient. Yes. We're done scaling.
Yep.
Right? You do 12, let's say you do 10 to 14 wholesale deals a month. You do, 5 fix and flips a month, and you do 5 to 7 creative finance buy and holds a month as well. Bro, how much time do you need in your life to be worth $200-300 million? It doesn't take that freaking long. Yep. It's like the 3 properties we were buying in Flagstaff, which you still haven't underwritten, by the way. But those 3 properties, you and I are buying $690,000 in real estate. Check this out. $690,000 in real estate for $30,000. And what I mean by that is that's the down payment to the seller. The seller is seller financing to us. So we'll buy $690,000 in real estate. Now, what Cody and I can use is a tax. We can utilize the tax code, rewritten in 2017. Go read the book Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. The tax code was rewritten in 2017. Unbelievable. Gives real estate investors crazy good incentives. So what will happen from that $690,000 in real estate is that Cody and I will be able to roughly write off, let's see, $250,000 in income off of those properties. So we spend 30 grand in cash to buy real estate that cash flows. We don't have to qualify for it. We don't have to go through any underwriting process. We don't have to use our taxes or our income or our bank statements or any of that stuff. We just give the seller $30,000. In return, we get a cash flowing property on in an amortized rate, 3.5% with the seller. Better than any bank rate I could go out and get right now as an investor. Now, if I'm a homeowner, obviously the home I'm living in, I can get crazy good rate, like 3%, 2.5%, crazy good rates right now. But on seller finance, bro, 3.5%, that's crazy good. So $30,000 to take those three properties over. They're student rentals. They have had the same frat houses renting them out for like the last 8 or 9 years. Steady Eddie, right? Amazing. The guys is taking care of these things incredibly well. If they did not cash flow, I would still buy these properties. Why? Because they actually saved Cody and I real hard cash this year. Real hard cash. So one of the best ways to make more money in your life is to keep more money. And so essentially, we got a lot of cool comments in here. I don't know if anybody, I'm kind of getting the cash flow per unit's $250 per unit. Lee Winters, I find myself flipping the deals where the wholesale fees don't make at least 10K. Yep. Turn those into flips 20,000 plus. Never waste a deal. That's exactly ours. Depression and down payments you pocket untaxed for lease option. Yes. So if we get a yes, Stephanie Polidoroff, what is up? How you doing? Good to see you. So Louis Montoya says, I made $87,000 net in my car business and living at day, NL saving nothing. I'm saving nothing. Okay. So the reality is those three properties alone, even though we did buy them for cash flow, and then I'm going to go into the other benefits beyond depreciation, but I want you to understand that those three properties at $690,000 will save Cody and I $250,000 in taxable income this year. Then there's other properties we've bought just recently. Des Moines. What did we buy Des Moines for? Like Des Moines, we bought for $290.
No, I think it was all in. It was like 310 for Des Moines, and that one, I mean, our all in PITI is 1,400, and I mean, we'll be at market rent. We could get 1,900 a month, but if we do a Section 8 home or maybe the Silver Living, we could get 2,000 plus probably. So that's a $500 a month gross, probably 350, 400 net.
Love it. So check this out. Here's the thing. Between Des Moines, which is one property in Mesa, and the other three properties we just bought in Flagstaff, and countless other houses that we've got, the seller finance deals that we've got going on, forget all those, just these four properties. With those four properties, you're at basically a little over $1 million in real estate that we purchased. Utilizing accelerated depreciation, you and I can take about 40% of that accelerated depreciation on those properties. So let's say $400,000 of depreciation. What does that mean? That means we can go make $400,000 in our wholesale or fix and flip business because we set ourselves up not as people on payroll, but as profit share. It's passive income for us. Okay, the way we set ourselves up, we can go make $400,000 in our wholesale operation, and that will end up being tax-free because I took $400,000 of depreciation against it. So I can now go make $400,000 in my wholesale business and keep it all. Now, obviously, I've got some state income tax. I've got consumption tax. I've got employment tax. I've got all sorts of other taxes I pay. But it is disgusting how much money you actually end up spending in taxes as a business owner. I go make $1 million, and by the end of the day, I actually made about 35% of that take home. I got to go make $1 million to bring home $350,000. That's crazy. I would much rather just go flip burgers. It is absolutely bonkers. So building your portfolio to a point Number one, utilizing creative financing and buying portfolio, not utilizing these traditional snail methods. The snail method of burst strategy, or I'm going to go get a loan, or I'm going to go do whatever, that take months and months and months and months. And then also dealing with banks who freaking lie to you about half the crap that they ask you for. And then they're, oh yeah, well, we need this, 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 and this. Okay, well, that means you can't do the deal. You told me originally you could do the deal. We spent 3 months together getting you all the information you need. Now you're telling me you can't get a deal. So guys, utilizing creative finance to build a portfolio, hands down the fastest, quickest, easiest, and most surefire way to build a portfolio. Utilizing that depreciation against your wholesale and fix and flip income, living your life in a federally tax income free world. Okay, that's benefit number one. Now, benefit number two. Let's talk about what you were just talking about. Okay. So check this out. Mike Ranch. If you have these rentals under a different entity, can you still get the tax benefit? Of course you can, right? You essentially only have one tax return, and that's your holding company. Your holding company owns all your LLCs, and every LLC creates what is called a K-1. A K-1 is a tax return for a business, or essentially not a P&L, but a K-1 is essentially, here's what we made. All of those K-1s from all of these LLCs come up to the one holding company, and that one holding company files the taxes, okay? So if one LLC loses $1 million and the other LLC gains $1 million and they both get sent up to the holding company, you made this much money, $0. That's how it works, okay? I don't pay federal income taxes on one LLC because I made a bunch of money, and then I don't have to just not pay money over here because I lost a bunch of money. All of my LLCs are held by a holding company, and whatever the holding company essentially nets at the end of the year is what I pay my taxes on. So if you're individually going through all your LLCs and treating them as all these individual things, guys, it's an aggregate. It goes up to a holding company, okay? I gain $1 million here, I lose $1 million here. That means I broke even for the year, right?
That's how, I mean, you know, the ultra wealthy pay low taxes. I mean, they're paying taxes and, you know, employment tax. I mean, all other types of taxes, but the personal income tax can be highly reduced.
Kelly Hanno says, is the $250,000 total or $250,000 each property? Now, Kelly, I can choose which properties I want to take depreciation on and which houses I don't want to take depreciation on, okay? So there's essentially 3 choices, okay? Choice number 1 is you take 0 depreciation, okay? Why would you take 0 depreciation? Is because you plan on needing that money at some point and you don't want to utilize or have to deal with what is called depreciation recapture. Okay, so if I take depreciation at some point when I sell that property, the IRS is going to say, hey, we need some of that depreciation back. Okay, now the way around depreciation recapture is a 1031 exchange, and a 1031 exchange, it's a whole thing we can get into another day. But you don't have to recapture that depreciation. There's great strategies around that. So that's option 1, is don't take depreciation. Okay, option 2 is you take depreciation at the normal rate. What is the normal rate? Does anybody know that? The normal rate is 27.5 years. So Cody, pull out your phone. And if you and I bought $1 million in real estate this week, which we did, if we bought $1 million in real estate this week, how much would you say, and then you divide that over 27.5 years, okay? Divide that by 27.5 years.
36,000.
Okay, so Eden Russum says, can you please describe depreciation in a nutshell, please? Depreciation is a tax code that allows you to, essentially the IRS says, okay, you've got a property worth $100,000, but in 27.5 years, that property is going to be worth $0 because the IRS thinks that house is going to fall apart which we know it does. They don't fall apart in 27 and a half years, but that's what the IRS says. So what you can do is you can take a credit every single year saying, hey, my property is depreciating in value. That means my property is losing value, and you essentially can take a credit against that loss. Okay, that would be a depreciation. Okay, so if we buy $1 million in real estate this week, for the next 27 and a half years, I can have how much of a credit against my income? $36,363. So Eden, what that means is, because I bought that $1 million in real estate, again, we're using zero of our own money. Okay, we're leveraging creative finance to buy these properties. I'm not getting a loan. I'm either taking over somebody else's loan subject to, or I'm buying a house on seller finance and the seller is financing me with no credit. Okay, we do it all the time. Now, I bought $1 million in real estate this week without any money out of my pocket. Okay, either we brought in some private lenders or maybe whatever. We can get into those strategies another day. But because I now have $1 million, again, I have no equity. I just bought them. I paid full retail. I have no equity. Without the cash flow, which is one of the benefits we're going to get into, without the cash flow, I'm getting a $36,000 credit from the IRS. So that means I can go make $36,000 in my wholesale business. And because I took a $36,000 depreciation credit, essentially, I pay zero taxes on my $36,000 of income. Now, that's a normal rate, is 27 and a half year credit. Every single year for 27 and a half years, you can take a credit. So take $1 million. If you buy $100,000 property, okay, let's say Cody and I buy $100,000 property tomorrow, and we decide to just follow the normal guideline for depreciation, which is 27 and a half years. That means for 27 and a half years, Cody and I get a credit from the IRS for $3,600 from that one property. That's basically $300. Oh my gosh, Marcus, are you worried if the market coming down on these assets? We do not buy for equity. We buy for cash flow. Equity builds itself over time. The market steals and gives equity every single day. The one thing that does not get taken away from you is your ability to cash flow on a property, especially in a strong rental market. Not market, but in terms of like real estate market ups and downs, but in Maricopa County or Atlanta or Tampa, whatever, wherever we invest our money, there has never, ever, even in major downpours and economic horrible situations. 2008, what happened to the rent rate? Cody, what happened to the rent rate in 2008?
Rent rates actually went up because people were losing their homes, and the housing inventory actually went down significantly for rentals. So there wasn't a lot of rentals available. So people were fighting to get into rentals. Yes, a lot of people did lose their jobs, but a lot of people that still were able to earn income, they were the tenants that were getting into your property. The old homeowner that couldn't afford their mortgage anymore because of the adjustable rate mortgage, still making money, is moving into your rental. And the other thing is, we also don't buy rentals that are high-end rentals either. We're not exposing ourselves in properties that are, super high-end. I mean, the average median household income, those are the types of properties that we buy that they can afford to rent. We don't, because I feel like that's where more people are having issues in a downturn is, okay, yeah, their $800,000-$900,000 rental probably is having a harder time renting. But your rentals that are in that sweet spot, like $1,200 to $1,800 a month in rent, I mean, that's most working families in the median income are going to be able to comfortably afford that, regardless of what the market's doing.
Correct. So in Maricopa County, the last 50 years, there's never in the last 50 years been any sort of downtick in rental rates whatsoever, other than 0.5%. So if I'm renting out a property for $2,000 and we have some weird glitch, maybe oversaturation of rental inventory, the market rate goes down $50 on my rent. The worst economic situations, 2008, pandemic right now, what has happened to our rental rates in Maricopa County in the worst freaking downturns? Our rental rates go up.
Yeah, we've seen, I mean, people are fighting over properties right now too.
Right. So you've got Tech. So Tech Cheng says, so I people jump in and out and then people ask questions. Okay. Sergio says, what's the downside? Sergio is one of those guys that thought he was a visionary. He's a full on integrator. He needs to be a Cody Padawan, dude, for sure. Anyway, so number one, you can choose to take zero depreciation, live without depreciation and just cash flow and all the other benefits we're going to talk about here in a little bit. You can choose to go down that road, or you can choose to do number two, which is taking a normal rate of depreciation of 20, dividing the value of the property when you buy it, not the ARV, it's the purchase price, what you paid for the property on paper. Now, again, we're not paying cash for properties. We're letting our tenants pay our properties off for us, which is another one of our benefits we're going to jump into. But guys, we don't pay houses off cash. This isn't the Dave Ramsey show. Okay. If you want to have 5 rentals by the time you die, go and pay houses off cash. Okay. That is not what we're doing here. We're utilizing creative financing and we're leveraging debt. And then we're allowing our tenants to pay that equity down for us over time. Okay. So that's number 2. You can take a normal rate of depreciation, or number 3, you can utilize cost segregation and take an accelerated depreciation, which usually means you can take 40% of that 27 and a half years and take it in your first year. Okay. So if you made a ton of money, okay, Cody and I made a ton of money in our wholesale and our fix and flip operations this year. If we make a ton of money in that, what about our title company? We're making money in our title company. We're making money in our other businesses as well. If you make a big chunk of money in a year, that might be a year you choose to do cost segregation, which will allow you, and we can jump into cost segregation another day, but cost segregation allows you to fast forward 40% of those 27 and a half years up front. Okay. If there is a this is the same question. We're going to deep dive in this. If there's a downturn, is there a possibility of the mortgage lenders looking through their documents for any transfers and collecting any due on sales? Due on sale is probably 1 in 1,000 transactions, even in 2008 and 2009. Do you know why people in 2008 and 2009 had the due on sale clause called on them, Renville? By the way, instead of you guys asking questions about the due on sale clause, ask yourself this question. Who do you know personally? It's almost like the due on sale clause is the big bad boogeyman. Everybody talks about it. Nobody's actually met the boogeyman. Tell me, do you know one person personally that has ever had the due on sale clause called on them? And how many transactions did they do before that happened? I have the answer for myself. Okay. So, no, that doesn't happen. Here's what happens. Due on sale clause happens when people screw up insurance, and due on sale clause happens when people take over. This is what happened in 2005, 6, 7. Remember what they were doing, the adjustable rate mortgages? All the guys that were buying subject to in 2005, 6, and 7 were taking over adjustable rate mortgages. Check this, Stephanie, you're like beautiful, amazing person. Let me jump into that real quick. So if you take over a house adjustable rate mortgage, and then the market changes and that rate goes up and you no longer cash flow on that property and you stop making your payments, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get the due on sale clause called. So this is what happened in 2008, 2009. There were a lot of creative finance investors that were buying adjustable rate mortgages, which I tell everybody, stay away from adjustable rate mortgages. When the market changed, their rate changed and their ability to cash flow also changed. Therefore, their ability to make those payments went away. What happened? They stopped making the payments and those notes got accelerated and foreclosed on. But from an outside perception, people said, oh my gosh, those guys got the note called on them because they bought with creative finance. That is not it at all. Those people stopped making payments. Okay. Go ahead and call it. They still have to take the property from me. Good luck, Hugo. That's funny. When do you I want to answer Stephanie's. If you had a free and clear rental, would you cash out, refi, or use it towards getting a business line of credit? Business line of credit would be larger than the cash out amount. I would always get the business line of credit. I think that's brilliant. The thing about a cash out refi though, Stephanie, is that you can take that money tax free. Okay. If you do a cash out refi, you keep that money. You don't have to necessarily pay that back like on a line of credit. You have to put money back on that. Okay. I guess you could essentially set it up kind of the same way, but if you do a cash out refi, tax-free income. So let's say, Stephanie, you have a $200,000 property and the bank will give you $150,000 for a cash out refi. Actually, that's probably incorrect. It's probably like 130. And they give you a 130 cash out refi. Here's what happens. That's tax-free income for you. Now you keep that 130 and you now have a 130 debt against that property. But guess who's paying that $130,000 debt? Not you. Your tenant is paying that $130,000 debt. So you essentially just got $130,000 tax free. Unfreaking believable. It's one of the best ways to get some chunks of money without selling your properties. Okay. Got to go into work. I'm going to lose you. Sorry, that sucks. What is your opinion of keeping the same servicer in place or hiring a new one? Cody and I are transferring all of our servicing in Arizona and Texas over to a new servicer right now. Sometimes you just like the customer service a little bit better, so we're changing it up. When you do subject to, the interest gets reported as the seller's interest, so you just claim that right off yourself. Do those 1099s come to you? Tom Gallant, that is incorrect. The seller does not have fee title to that property, nor do they have equitable title to that property. What fee title means, fee title gives you the ability to write off your taxes and write off your interest. The seller no longer has fee title or equitable title of that property. Therefore, you, as the person paying the actual interest, are the one that gets the tax write-off, not the seller. Unless you're doing it incorrectly. The way you would be doing that incorrectly is if you're buying it on, the seller is selling it to you on a land contract or agreement for sale, then the seller could essentially keep that interest write-off. But in our world, when we buy the property subject to, we are taking title deed. We are on the title. We not only have equitable title, but we have fee title, which then gives us the ability to keep the tax write-offs. Renville, William. So he says, I don't know anyone. But what happens is when I'm doing YouTube things or I'm on stage or whatever, the number one question I get with creative finance is, what about the due on sale clause? And I go, what's the name of the boogeyman? Is his name just Boogeyman, or does he actually have a name? Let's have that conversation. Okay. But Stephanie, that's a great question. Property value only, not the land value. So yeah, Jamal, we're talking about cost segregation, 100%. You are correct. If there's a downturn, is there a possibility of the mortgage lenders? We already jumped on that. Adrian Torres has brought this up a couple of times. I have a potential sub-2 deal I'm working on. They're going through foreclosure, but their PITI is $2,800. Yikes. Any way we can lower that that payment after catching up their mortgage? The answer is that not going to happen, right?
But yeah, loan mod. But it's
every loan mod we've done is raising the price.
Yeah, I mean, usually what happens on the loan mods, and again, this is in my experience, what I've seen on most of the loan mods is they'll adjust it to a new rate for a period of time, say 90 days, 120 days, where they'll reduce it, and then they up it right back up to, right at where their payment was. So it's not very likely, Adrian. Sorry to get your hopes smashed.
The answer to that is no. You're not going to be able to you're not going to lower the payment. But what you can do is look at your exit strategy as a different exit strategy, which would amplify your ability to cash flow. So, for example, we own a property up in Nevada, Las Vegas area. We own a property up in Vegas that doesn't cash flow on a regular rental. So when you look at like Rentometer or MLS, you go, oh, this is a bad deal. But then you look at the ability to Airbnb that property, and now you can cash flow $1,000 net. So you might want to look at your exit strategy instead of trying to change the payment. Take the payment, figure out the exit strategy. Nisha, do you ever talk to Leon Johnson? Honestly, I love Leon Johnson. We were texting about a month ago. But I have not spoken to Leon in probably 2 months personally, like on the phone. Oh, I was on a podcast with Leon like four or 5 weeks ago. So yes, I do speak with him. I text him. I love him. He's an amazing guy. Let's see. Let's see. They can't refinance. I don't know what that means, but let's see.
Casey had a good question.
What was the question? I can't see it.
How do you guys claim taxes as partners? Do you just run all the tax benefits through the business and then take personal draws?
Okay, so the way that we run our tax benefits is that Cody and I both own 50% of the entity. Okay, so essentially, Cody has his own tax strategy, and I have my own tax strategy. Okay, it's probably the same strategy because we have the same CPA, but essentially, our properties, we take, what do we take? We take a profit share.
Yeah,
and an owner draw.
Yep. Yeah. So we take, and we just switched it for Q4, where we take an owner compensation. If you guys haven't read the book Profit First, I'd highly recommend it. But we take an owner salary essentially every month from our different entities. So we're taking an owner salary, and then at the end of every quarter, we take a profit distribution from all the different businesses each quarter.
Love it. Okay, so we talked about depreciation. Let's get into another benefit. So let's talk about cash flow. Okay, rule number one to creative finance. I'm not talking about benefit number one. Okay, we're just going through the benefits of creative finance. Number one is depreciation, especially when you're making money in wholesale and fix and flips and stuff like that. So rule number one of creative finance is cash flow. Always, always, always cash flow is rule number one. Rule number two of creative finance is don't put your brain in the seller's head. And then I've got a whole bunch of other rules that we won't go into tonight. But rule number two, or benefit number two, is cash flow. Now, here's the thing about cash flow that's interesting about Cody and I. Cody and I actually don't live on cash flow. Okay, because we're aggressive. What do we do, guys? What do you think Cody and I actually do with our cash flow from our rental properties? What do you think we actually do with our cash flow? Casey Martin, thanks. That helps me a lot know where we need to set things up for our business. So Casey Martin, I would go read the book Profit First. That's actually how we implement. Yep. Reinvest to the business. Kelly Hanna, what we actually do with our cash flow is we pay down either debt or we buy more properties with it. It's just another vehicle to buy more stuff, to control more stuff, to build our wealth, to get more depreciation, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Why is that? It's because Cody and I have, I don't know how many, we probably have about 10 to 12 streams of income. So when you have all these streams of income coming in from what you've set up, right? Fix and flip, wholesale, title company, all the things that we have got. We own a virtual assistant business. Shout out vahub.com. Boom, boom, boom. vahub.com is like growing like crazy, by the way. So if you guys need a VA, what did we just start? Admin stuff?
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks. We're starting the waiting list now because there's a lot of people that have reached out. But yeah, if you need a virtual assistant to help you do your administrative backend, part of your business, vahub.com is, just started offering that, launching November 1st. Obviously, if you need a cold caller or a texter or anything to help you with your marketing, basically all things to help you with your lead generation, that would be vahub.com.
Right. So, we own a virtual assistant business. We have close to 200 employees over there. So Cody and I get paid from that business, and growing that. So at some point, you don't need any more money to live, right? Now it's at a point where how can I strategically be smart about my money? Where can I invest it to make more? Where can I invest it to get tax savings? All that kind of stuff. But cash flow is amazing because there have been times in our lives where cash flow is what got us through, and cash flow was what allowed us to do certain things, but now we don't need it anymore. And so we reinvest it. At this point, it's just a fun game of Monopoly. Now we're itty bitty people in a sandbox. There's people that own 5,000 homes. There's people that own 10,000 homes. We're itty bitty little crabs in the ocean, but we're getting there. Darren Talcott. Thank you, Darren. Appreciate you saying that. Mike Ranch, difficulty I am running into is finding a title company that knows what docs are needed for sub 2 to make this work. Mike Ranch, what I would highly suggest you do is work with one of the sub 2 students in the sub 2 mentorship. They have not only the best docs in the country, but they also have our transaction coordinator to run those transactions and run title and do all that kind of stuff. So I would work with one of the sub 2 students and leverage and do deals with them so that you can have somebody help you with the paperwork. They're not going to give you the paperwork, unfortunately, but they'll at least help you contract the seller, walk through the process, and JV the deal with you. Okay. So thank you again, Darren, for saying that. Anybody that has VA Hub is usually going to say amazing, amazing, amazing. I think the number one reason, this doesn't happen that often, but the number one reason why people are not happy with a VA is because they're giving their VA bad data. But outside of that, if you give your VA good data at VA Hub, you absolutely crush it.
I think it's the bad data. And then, sometimes people have expectations of, that someone's going to be able to, fix all their problems for them. It's like, you have to give them some direction of like, hey, I want you to be doing these things for me, so it's like setting them up to be able to, do everything that you want them to do to make sure that you're successful.
Yes, 100%. So guys, you'll see that there's a lot of the sub 2 students are in the side chat. Take a couple minutes and reach out to them and say, hey, I've got deals. Can you help me? They're going to help you through that process. They'll even help you talk to the sellers. They'll help you JV. And then they also have access to me about 20 hours a week. If there is something they don't know, then they have access to somebody that knows the answer to get what you guys need. But I would be JVing with the sub 2 students all day long. I wish there were sub 2 students for me to JV with when I first got started. So number 2, so cash flow. So Cody, let's go through Des Moines. Okay. What is the underlying payment? Let's say our rent rate there is, if we rented it out to Patrick, let's say for $2,300, because he might do it as a sober living. If you rented the Des Moines out to Patrick for $2,300, what does that deal look like with cash flow?
So our PITI on it's $958 a month, and then we have a private money lender on that deal. I think the payment to them is $400, give or take, $400 a month. So that puts us at about $1,358 a month, and if we rented it for $2,300 minus $1,358, our gross would be $942 a month. So net after, miscellaneous repairs or little things like that, $750, $800 a month.
So you're telling me we've got one property that we just closed on escrow on like 10 days ago that our net cash flow on is $700 plus, and we have none of our own money into that deal.
Facts.
How long did it take for us to get approved for the loan though? That's the crazy thing.
0 minutes, 0 hours, 0 days.
Zero, and in the famous Ferris Bueller line, 0.0. So J Red Brumfield, she says, I need help talking to a seller. Well, then I would absolutely reach out to my sub 2 students. This last week on Friday, we did 11 hours of live calling for the students. 2 weeks before that, we did 5. 2 weeks before we did that, 4. 2 weeks before that, we did 12. We crush it on the seller calls. Our students know how to talk to sellers for sure. So reach out to the students in the mentorship. Tons of students in there. Cody, is there a discount code? Like we're getting a lot of people. I'm actually getting people messaging me over here on the side here a lot about VA Hub. Mm-hmm. Where do if I want to sign up for a virtual assistant? There are actually a couple of questions. Michael Morero, don't get me started on Burr. Everybody tell me what does Pace think about the Burr strategy?
Pace doesn't like it.
Here's why I don't like it. I don't like the Burr. I don't like the Burr strategy because the lenders are full of shit. Okay. They're just like bait and switchers. It's none of their own money. They're just brokers and they're trying to waste your time. It takes so long to do one house. You absolutely have to have a job or a very, very credible relationship with a lender in order to get those types of loans. Just use creative finance. Why would you want to do a BRRRR? Tell me, if you knew sub two and seller finance, why would you ever waste your time on a BRRRR? I don't understand that. Please give me a reason why you would want to do the BRRRR strategy. Yes, Jeff, newer student, amazing guy, says BRRRR, like trudging through. It should be like trudging through cold mud. BRRRR. Okay, so VA Hub. Let's get back to that because there's a couple questions. For administrative work, if I need somebody to do administrative work, what does that mean? Is that like bookkeeping? Give me like top 5 things you would have somebody do for at VA Hub.
So the first thing is going to be, well, as far as for administrative tasks, the things that you're going to want to have somebody do would be automating your marketing, right? And so the start process of that is the list that you want to have pulled. You could have your virtual assistant go ahead and pull the lists for you. You tell them what you want pulled, have them pull the list, have them skip trace those lists for you, have them organize the data, you know, because everyone knows when you have to actually organize the columns and all of that, have them organize the columns, place it into your dialer so that you're you know, whether it's you cold calling or whether you have another virtual assistant that's cold calling for you, you could have them, you know, just make it really seamless, get it uploaded into the dialer. Some of the other things that I have our virtual assistant admin do is, you know, updating the phone numbers, right? So if any of you are text blasting or you are cold calling, you'll know that your phone numbers get marked as spam every now and then. So what I have our virtual assistant do is go and update our phone numbers, make sure that they're not being marked as spam likely, updating those. So pulling lists, setting up campaigns. So they'll set up our text campaigns for us. They'll set up our cold calling campaigns for us as well. And then we also have, you know, admins that are doing other stuff for us, you know, for our property management, basically helping our bookkeeper, you know, keep up on our property management software as well. So keeping that all organized. And then we also have our VA do our KPIs. So he'll pull the KPIs for the week of all the acquisition calls that have happened. He'll pull the KPIs of the leads that have been generated, and the lead sources and the deals closed, and make sure that, you know, we have the commissions being paid to the other VAs that are, you know, getting deals done for our team. So, I mean, whatever you can teach another human to do, whether they're here local in the United States or whether they're, you know, in the Philippines, a virtual assistant can do for you. All it takes is having somebody that, you know, has a willingness to learn and has a work ethic, which is what we specifically are hiring for at VA Hub. So, you know, that's the biggest thing to understand is, you know, a lot of people can have limiting beliefs around, you know, another person being able to do some of these tasks. All it really takes is just laying out what you want done, showing them, you know, hey, like this is how simple it is to get tasks passed off for you. So this is the few steps you have to do. So there's a task you want done. Say it's pulling a list. Go on loom.com, record your screen pulling a list, showing how to pull a list. And then you teach that VA, you say, hey, here's the video, or you record that video teaching them, answering their questions in the Loom video, recording it. You finish the video, you save the video, you put it somewhere where the VA can go access it. When you say, hey, pull a list for Phoenix, Arizona, pull a list for Orlando, Florida. This is the criteria. You have the video. They can go reference back to that video, watch the video. Okay, this is how it's pulled. You know, hey, Cody, I have the list prepared. Here it is. Like that's as simple as it really gets. The challenge that people have, you know, guys, is that you have to show them the initial step, right? And so I just record everything that I'm doing. Whenever I'm teaching a virtual assistant how to do something, I record the call. So then I can go put it into, we use Trainual. So we can go put it into our training database. So we can just reference back if the VA has a question. Hey, Gerald, that's our main admin VA that, you know, runs a lot of these things for us. Hey, Gerald, we did a video on that. If you want to reference back to the marketing, you know, under the marketing module within Trainual, you can watch that video there on specifically how to do that. I actually go over that in that video. Please let me know if you have any questions, right? So you can redirect back to that. So that's what's important, and how to get the most out of your virtual assistants is being able to do that.
Love that. So Mark Wilson says, I'm new to this and came across Pace about a month and a half ago. I need help in which way to go to about this strategy. Need direction. So Mark, a couple of things I would do is, number one, I would go to the Creative Finance with Pace Morby Facebook group, and I would squad up with other students. And I also would go watch the 16-hour live that I did. That's like 16 hours straight amazingness, all for brand new investors. So I would start there. Second thing I would do is probably watch the 25-hour live. And then third thing I would do is I would find, if you can't join my mentorship, there's a lot of people like Leanna. She applied. Leanna's in here. She applied, but the area was already sold out, so she didn't get into the mentorship. But I would, we might open up another spot coming down the road. And I look forward to having Leanna in the mentorship once that area opens up. But what I would do, Mark, is I would potentially sign up for a call to see if your area is sold out. I would go to sub2.com. And Leanna was actually a guest on the 16-hour live, so go watch that. 16-hour live was awesome. I basically do 16-hour lives every single week now. Where's the hour live? Watching the hour live now, pretty amazing. Where's the 16? You mean where's the 16-hour live? That's in the Facebook group. You can find it. A lot of people will help you out. Love it. So that's a good place to start. Okay, so benefit number 2 is cash flow. We just talked about that. Holy crap, we're 48.
2 out of 7, an hour and 18 minutes in.
Wow. We'll have to continue it next week, but guys, we've got 12 minutes left. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give away 14 one-on-ones tonight. Cody, where are we going to put the one-on-ones? Will you put the Facebook group in there?
Yes.
If you're paying attention, we've got 300 people watching live right now. If you're paying attention, either A, give me a peace sign, especially if you're a student, give me a peace sign. And if, or give me a thumbs up or something like that if you're paying attention. Okay. Because we're about to tell you where you can get the 14. We're going to give away 14 one-on-ones. Uppercuts Barbershop. I freaking love that name. That's dope.
Dope.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, everybody's paying attention. Okay, so benefit number 3. Mortgage pay down. Cody, can you see pull up one of our more recent mortgage statements? Do you have one that we can pull up and we can show what mortgage pay down means on a mortgage statement and why that's a benefit?
Yeah, just give me a sec. Let me get.
Who knows what mortgage pay down is, guys? Tell me what mortgage pay down means. The Ramirez real estate team says, Pace, do I have to apply again? Yes. I gave you a Calendly link. You did not show up. So no, I'm not going to give you a spot that somebody else could get. So you would have to apply again. Sorry, man. The person who runs my Calendly link is a gal from VA Hub. She's very good. Like if somebody's like, I didn't get the link, I'm like, yeah, you did. Like that's how good they are. So she crushed it. And I just double checked it. So you will have to apply again. And that's unfortunate, but sorry about that. Do you have anything, Cody?
I'm getting logged in. I had to pull up the spreadsheet.
Cody's pulling up a spreadsheet. How cool is that, guys? Pulling up a spreadsheet Yo, there's Patrick. I haven't seen Patrick in a couple months. Patrick gave me a tour of Portland, bro. Drove me around, took me to the Rose Garden, took me to downtown Baghdad. Basically, Portland was a freaking war zone when I went there.
Oh my God. All right, I'm looking for a secondary view. It has like their social, so I'm just trying to avoid sharing that with the entire world.
What could you do with somebody's social? I'm just curious. What could you do?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm not the guy that strategized on scheming and scamming, so I'm not too sure. But
I get people that, like, when we post checks or we post something, I actually had somebody goes, "Hey, I can see your driver's license number." Or they're like, "Oh, I can see your hey, your video has your license plate number." I'm like, what is somebody going to do with that?
That's the weird part. The license plate number. I'm like, huh?
Okay. Donovan Richard says, this is what some of the advice I gave him on the one-on-one. I've started using Loom and Trainual for my VAs and transaction coordinator, like you encouraged me to, on our one-on-one, and I'm already starting to see a difference in our company, bro.
Yes,
that's what these one-on-ones are for, bro. 100%. Daryl Banks says, Pace, when and where are you going to be in Philly? I will be in Philly with Jamil Damji on Saturday, all day Saturday. We are driving down from New York. We're renting a car. We want our own car. We don't want people driving us around. We want to be able to like do our own stuff in Philadelphia. We have a handful of people that we're meeting with. Marcia says you'd be surprised with what they could do with your info. I'm sure I would be. I'm curious though. Like, I'm not challenging it. I'm sure they could do something. I'm just curious, what could they do? Leanna says Cody's raising the roof. How many states have you guys done deals in? I would say we've probably done deals in 30 states. I can tell you, the sub 2 students, there's not one state at this point in just 6 months of the mentorship. There's not one state that a deal has not been done in.
All right, I have this up here.
Show me.
I was just verifying the screen, making sure there's no personal stuff on here of the previous seller. All right, here we go. And I already know you're going to comment on me having a million tabs open on my computer.
I'm always talking shit.
So here we go. So this is Des Moines.
Oh, is it Des Moines? Okay, show me the mortgage pay down. Where are we at?
Well, this isn't the amortization schedule, but here, so of our payment, right? So, and they just got this loan, I think it was 2017, but we have a 3.125% fixed interest rate, guys. That's a great rate. Our payment. So check this out. I was wrong. I was like $20 off. I was going off my memory. But on this payment, it's $972 a month and 86 cents. Of that $972, we have $271.74 going to principal. So only really $2,500, I don't know, somewhere between $2,500, $3,000 a year is going towards principal pay down. The other chunk here is going towards interest. But here's the thing to understand is the first 7 to 10 years on an amortization schedule, which if you don't know what an amortization schedule is, it's basically if you go out, you get a loan with, say, Bank of America, it's a 30-year loan. So you're making payments over 30 years. And over that 30 years time, you're paying principal and interest. So as we're looking at this statement, guys, we're looking at there's principal, there's interest, and there's taxes and insurance, right? So when we're looking at that over a 30-year period of time, you're paying principal and interest. And what banks do, because they're smart, there's a reason that banks are the tallest building in every town you go to, is they front load all of your loans that you go when you buy a house. When I go buy a house, if I'm buying it through, traditional bank, and you're paying more interest than your principal for the first, pretty much 10 years. But then what starts to happen, and Pace, if you want, I could pull up Bankrate and show them how the schedule starts to change too.
How about we answer Tom Gallant's question?
Let's do it.
Tom says, is that your personal spreadsheet or a program that you use?
No, this is the servicing website.
So this is the actual mortgage statement. This comes from the mortgage company. This is not something we created. This is the difference between people that do deals and don't do deals, is that we actually have things to show you guys. But that is an actual mortgage statement showing what our interest rate is and how much money is going to the interest pay and the mortgage pay down. As you pay, the amount of interest goes down and the amount of principal goes up. That is correct. That is the definition of amortization. Pay off interest first, then principal. That is correct. That's amortization.
Yep.
Josh Coate says, if you're buying houses subject to, whose name is on the insurance policy that covers the home? Does that policy stay under the seller's name? No. The seller becomes a loss payee. A loss payee. They are no longer the main insured. They are a loss payee. So if I buy the property subject to, the insurance stays in our name because we are holding that property for a rental, an Airbnb, or whatever. If I buy it subject to and then sell it on a wrap, now the person who I wrap it to is the new owner. Therefore, they are the main insured. Then the mortgage company is the main loss payee. I am the second loss payee, and the seller is the third loss payee in that situation. Or they could be named as additional insured, but we prefer not to go that route, to be honest. Hopefully that answers your question. Guys, who wants us to announce? It's 8:30. Who wants us to announce the 14 people that are going to get a one-on-one? Who wants to get a one-on-one? Does anybody even care about that? Who came for a one-on-one? Give me a yes, a no, all the stuff. 3 people. Just kidding. Looks like a lot. Got it. So, Cody, give them a link of where we are going to put where we're going to put the Calendly link. Where are we going to put that?
So if you're not already in the batch driven Facebook group, that is where you have to go to get access to the Calendly link. So I just posted that. Let me
everybody look at the side chat. Look at the comments. Cody is going to put the link to the Facebook group that we are going to put that link in. Okay. 300 people going strong, guys. Well, 290, a little over 290. So thank you guys so much for sticking with us, loving us. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we got through the top 3 benefits tonight. Is that all we got through?
We could do part 2 next Sunday.
All right, we will do part 2 next Sunday. I will get home on time to do Sunday service next week.
Perfect. I mean, for everybody that's watching, if you're getting value from this today, make sure to share with your friends. I mean, we don't charge. The show's free. Obviously, we've been doing this for a year and a half now, free of charge, because this is something that we wish we had when we were starting out in the business, just somewhere to go where guys that were actually doing the business, we're just sharing the knowledge that they have, talking about deals they're actually doing. So that's what this show's about. So if you're getting value from this, take a screenshot, post it on your Instagram, invite your friends to, join the Creative Financing with Pace Morby Facebook group. That's what this is about. It's growing the community. Are we ready to post? That's the real question. Am I ready to post the Calendly link in the group?
I don't know. I want to see if everybody's in there. Are there anybody that still hasn't been able to join?
Is there anybody that hasn't been able to join the batch driven Facebook group? I'm going to go.
There's 30 people that have not been able to get through. I'm going to approve them real quick.
Okay.
Oh, 41 requests tonight. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it.
All right, I approved. Okay.
So next week, guys, we're going to go through benefits number 4, 5, 6, and 7. But tonight we went through depreciation, cash flow, and mortgage pay down. There are 4 other benefits to creative finance. And then next week, I think what we do is we should go through how to help a seller. Ryless Dana, my guy, is joining the Facebook group. I love me some Ryless Dana.
Ryless.
He's the freaking man, dude. All right, Cody, I would say share the link in like 30 seconds.
All right, get in. If you're not in, it will go every week.
It goes fast.
It goes within, less than a minute. So if you're not in there, make sure to be in there. I haven't posted it yet. We're waiting. We're making sure everybody's in. I'm going back and checking and making sure that we're not having anyone stuck. Approve. All right, getting you guys approved here.
Guys, would you be interested in doing a conversation next week, Sunday service, on items 4, 5, 6, and 7, the other 4 benefits to creative finance? Or was this a boring topic tonight? I mean, we had over 300 live viewers for most of the night, so I imagine people really liked it, but I don't know. Give me some feedback. Let me know your thoughts. By the way, whose lighting is better, Cody's or mine?
Bro.
And also, whose audio is better? Is my audio better than Cody's? I'm just curious.
Mine's going to be good.
Actually, I'm actually surprised at how good your audio is tonight.
It's going to be good. I'm going to have a little studio set up. I got a little couch for this room. It's going to look nice. I'm excited.
You're going to have like city views, bro. You're going to be in freaking Pennsylvania, or not Pennsylvania, a penthouse, dog.
Yeah, it's exciting. Inspiring. I don't ever leave the house, so I got to have a good view from the house.
B. Louis says, can you please approve my invite?
Oh, I don't see anyone here. I'm going to refresh. Let me refresh. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, we just got 15 more. All right, are we ready to post? I think we should post.
Isn't it amazing how many times you have to say something like over and over and over and over?
Amazing. It's just what it is.
Hey, Debbie Lou. Debbie Lou sounds like she's coming on board as one of our lenders, Cody.
Nice.
She's got a little bit of money she wants to put to work. And I think she's going to work on some of our fix and flips with us, which will be cool. Mark Wilson says, Pace better audio and lighting. Thank you.
AKA Cody's lighting and audio is trash.
I actually I've got like 2 other things I've got to adjust with my little setup, but mine should be a little bit better over the next couple of weeks. I've got some background stuff coming in and trying to make it so. Do I have to be on a computer? No, Luis, you do not have to be on a computer.
It's not posted yet. It's not posted, but you will see it in the feed, in the general feed on the Batch Driven Facebook group.
You know what, Freddie? Cody is not. Okay, this is the benefit of living the life that we live. Not trying to brag or anything like that. I don't wear a Rolex watch. I don't have a Bentley or anything like that. Cody and I spend most of our money on assets. Except Cody is splurging a little bit. He's going to go and live in a penthouse in downtown Phoenix for you did like a short-term lease, like 6 months or something?
Yeah, it's seven months. And primarily just because I never really allowed.
You're stepping on my story. The story is this. Cody is going to go live in Colombia for the summer next year. I think everybody in Phoenix is over these 122, 123 degree days. And Cody and his girlfriend, Hayel, are going to live in Colombia for at least a month, if not a couple months, right?
Yeah. We're going to do like in Colombia, a month in Mexico, and then a month somewhere else in South America, or Colombia or Mexico again, just depending on what we like more.
How'd you guys like Tulum? I don't think you and I talk so much. I actually never really got to ask you about Tulum. How was that?
It was great. I mean, Tulum's beautiful. I mean, the weather was super nice down there. I mean, it was great. The water was amazing. It's way better than California water. Just the water was great. I mean, it was jungle. So we went to some cenotes. I would definitely recommend you and Laura have to go down there.
Is
There's
that
a lot.
is that like peyote?
No. Cenote is like an underground cave that you can.
I love it. So yes, Guy says, but a sweet Airstream. Yes. You know, the great thing about an Airstream is that it's a mobile office. And what does that mean?
Right off.
Write off. Every penny of that Airstream was a write off. It probably saved me $40,000 in taxes this year buying that thing. Okay, so Cody, let's drop the link. Let's get everybody that link.
We're dropping it.
Guys, if you got any value, please can everybody do me a favor tonight? Please, can everybody do me a favor? I love this. My sub 2 students do this for me so many times after our calls in our sub 2 Zooms and our sub 2 calls with sellers and all that kind of stuff. Students, all of my sub 2 students, we probably have 150 students on here out of the 250 people who are still watching. Sub 2 students, what's the thing I'm always asking you guys to do for me? The number one thing I want you guys to do for me. If you got any value, I want feedback. We're constantly trying to get better and better and better at what we do. We're trying to get better at the value we provide to you guys. And the way I get that value is what? How do I get that value? Yes, Wade, that is where Chris Arnold lives. He's an awesome guy. Good to see you, Wade. I have been seeing all your comments, Wade. We do need to be hanging out and playing some golf, bro. Okay, so the thing that I like more than anything else is I like it when you guys give us feedback. Okay, so go to the Creative Finance with Pace Morby Facebook group and give me some feedback. Tell us what was the number one thing you learned tonight. Yeah, there you go, Christine, you got it. What's the value you received tonight? I want to know what that is because it helps us understand, wow, okay, Chris made a post about how he didn't know this or he didn't know that, and we shed some light on this, and we should talk more about this. It helps us craft our comments, or not our comments. It helps us craft what we're going to be talking about. It helps us alter the way we talk about it, whether we go deeper, we stay surface level. We need feedback, constant feedback. We need feedback. So if you guys do not mind, please go into the Creative Finance Facebook group and make a post and say, tonight on Sunday service, I learned blank. Please do that. Can everybody do that for me? Please make a comment for me. Leanna, I had a one-on-one with her today. She says, Pace Morby made me realize so much more about me than I thought. That was a really good conversation, Leanna. I'm glad you and I feel like we spent about 40 minutes together. Daryl Banks says, hey, Pace, Daryl Banks here. Great sub 2 students. Might have my first sub 2 going on like 3 months talking with a seller follow-up on call on Thursday. Well, I'll be in your neck of the woods on Thursday. Maybe I can help you on Saturday down. What city is that in? Dina. That's too bad. Did it get booked out?
Is it already full?
Calvin Durham says, Pace, real quick, what contracts do you use? Well, I have an attorney redraft our documents about every quarter, just based on federal laws and regulations that are changing and things that we're learning in our business. And the sub 2 students have all those contracts. So if you want to work with some of the sub 2 students to learn how to actually buy sub 2 and seller finance, reach out to the sub 2 students in the Creative Finance Facebook group and squad up with them. Okay. Sorry guys, the link, seriously, it goes in a minute. He put it up 5 minutes ago. It was gone 4 minutes ago. I've got notifications for all of them. Yes. Every single one of them is taken. I currently have 14 unread emails. All of that came from Calendly.
Oh man.
Yep. Thank you, Rylas. I appreciate you. So guys, thank you so much for following us on Sunday service. Please please share, please subscribe, whatever YouTube channel you're on right now. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and go to the Creative Finance with Pace Morby Facebook group and make a comment tonight. And that comment, not a comment, I want to post. I want to post that tomorrow morning when I start going through all those posts. I want to read everything that people learned from tonight's live. On Sunday service, I learned this. That's what I'm looking for. Can everybody do that for us tonight? Thank you guys so much. Cody, take us home.
All right, guys, appreciate having everybody on tonight. As always, we appreciate the opportunity to just share the things that we're learning in our business week by week, day by day. So if you're not in the Creative Financing with Pace Morby Facebook group, obviously make sure to join that Facebook group. If you don't know what the 990 challenge is, you need to find out. Ask about it in that Facebook group. Pace is going to be having some more YouTube videos coming out on that as well. This week, have an amazing week. Plan your week, work your plan, and at the end of the day, take action. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next Sunday.
Guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We will see you next Sunday. Cody Barton, I will see you tomorrow.